Hi, I'm Rachel again. I'm going to take you through your research project criteria assessment. So within your candidate achievement record, and we looked at this previously, if you've watched the practical assessment video, you take yourself to page 8. What you will see here are, again, the similar markings that we had in the practical: a tick for a pass, cross if we haven't seen that criteria, bullet point with a comment, and a Q with a question. So there are 11 criteria, but what you'll notice is once you put your name on your report, sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all relate to this 2,000 words. So basically criteria 2 says, have you given an overview of all the subjects within your research in the 2,000 words? So we only expect you to give evidence of 2 clients, but you might in your 2,000 words talk about other clients in some way to demonstrate points. But let me carry on and so I can explain this further. So you are going to use some grid forms, and I'll show you those in a moment, and that is to demonstrate technical evaluations. But if we go to criteria 3 just for a moment, and it's producing a brief, succinct introduction. So this is then explaining that your clients, your subjects were maybe female between the ages of 35 and 50. They were cyclists, and they had SMART goals that related to time, distance in cycling, for example. You might also talk about any issues there. So it's a very brief and anonymous, please, introduction to your people. Criteria 4 is in some way, either in a paragraph or throughout your report, talking about any strengths that you found in the screening process and where it worked well, and give examples of that, maybe relating to a client or a few clients, to give examples. Same with 5, and this one is more about what was difficult. Maybe they didn't adhere to the program, or maybe they didn't understand it, or maybe they had issues at home that stopped them continuing with the program. So areas for improvement. 6 is talking about the way this might have changed the way you practice, and understanding that that may be a good thing, but also quite difficult. So that might also come into criteria 4 and 5. Number 7 is the key thing we're always looking for. So because it's a research project, it's having that ability to critically think about your decision making. So while we've given you some systems to follow, have you demonstrated justifications for all of your decisions that go above and beyond simply following the system, which might be part of the process, but it's also about why did you do it in that way. So it's why you used the system in the way you did. Number 8 is that throughout all of this writing, you're justifying you understand the system in application. And 9 is then a summary of your thoughts. So this comes again with an action plan. So a succinct kind of wind up at the end of your 2,000 words, explaining maybe in a nutshell a summary and then an action plan based on everything you've said previously. 10 is your grid forms, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And obviously in number 11, make sure there is no reference to any personal details. Down at the bottom, you will add your signature and a date, please. And of course, just note, we don't want any personal data, any linksman, any screening forms, photos, videos. No need to send any of that in. All you're going to send in is what I'm going to show you in a moment. I'm going to skim down to number 11 before I come up to 9 and 10. So we expect information relating to 2 subjects in these grid forms to show us you understand the system application. So subject 1, the date of the first test or full screen, date of the second test, third and fourth. Now these may not be completely next to each other. It might be that screen 1, that screen 3, screen 5. So you're giving examples, but tell us that when you write this up. In the next one, you're going to list all the positive results. So what you'll do is use the coding on your screening form. So if, for example, they had a leg length discrepancy, you would write LLD. If they're then positive on Downing sign, you'd write DS. they're positive on foresight, 4S. You don't have to write it out fully. Don't feel limited by this template, by the way. If you want to create your own, so you've got more space, particularly when we come over to this column, then please feel free to create your own. So everything that was positive on their first full screen in here, and then any I Move Freely exercises listed in the order you prescribed them. So this again, like your link on your links man, it might say 4S for the four-sign muscle energy technique, LP for leg press, etc. But also listing it in the order you ask the client to do, because that demonstrates an understanding of the system. This final box is very simple technical explanations about why you gave them certain exercises, rather than simply because that's the system. So explaining why you chose four-sign instead of leg press, why you gave them 2 exercises, not 4, or 1 instead of 3, and why you maybe given them some antagonist work early on. So if you did that, you might describe that in here. You may put a bit of information about it in here, but talking around, an example might be they were already using the gym, so I felt that they were happy to just add some antagonist work within their training program. Full screen 2, again the date, maybe the number of the screen, so if it's the 3rd screen, write that in there. And again, all the things that were positive, the I Move Freely exercises, and then your justifications and any additional strength training that you might have done and why, and so on for the screen 3 and 4. So you've got 2 of those in here, but as I've mentioned, you don't have to use those templates as long as we've got all that information. So they will allow us to tick criteria 10 here, which is included the summary in the grid forms of 4 full screens showing the progress of 2 subjects. But what you might do in your overview is talk around, in total I assessed 10 people, but I'm going to give you examples from these 2 because they help me explain the strengths, the areas to improve, or something else within there. This is again where your assessor will offer you feedback in relation to the criteria. And again, in here, you will get a pass or refer straight away, so you understand that process. And what comes next, if you weren't quite right, you'll have a chat with your assessor and they'll feedback and let you know what more is needed to complete that. So coming back to page 2, that will then give you all 3 units here which are required. And what you'll see is a practical assessment requires your full criteria completed, and then there will be feedback, and your research element, you're going to send in 2 grid forms and a 2,000 word written report, and then you'll get feedback based on that as well. Hope that all makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, email me, Rachel@biomechanics.education.com. Good luck.